What is going on, everybody? It's your man Mike Deloach here, bringing you another video. And today I just want to say, excuse me, to anybody traveling, be prepared. You know, and when I say be prepared, like, for one, make sure you have more than enough money to be traveling. You know what I mean? Things can happen. Your card could get double charged by accident. You could go somewhere, it could be a new employee. They may not know what they're doing. They may ring your card twice. And 9 times out of 10, if you're using a debit card, it's gonna take some time for that money to get back on your card. You know what I mean? But hopefully you got your financial situation where you got more than one means, or more than one way to have access to money. Some people only have a debit card. I got 3 credit cards. I plan on getting 2 more and have at least 5. You know, but I have a debit, so technically I have 4. So I have 4 different ways that I can access money. You know what I'm saying? My credit card all got different limits. My debit card got, some money, and yeah, it got a limit on that too. But still, be prepared when it comes to finances. Be prepared when it comes to the way your car rides, and that's the biggest thing. If you're traveling, make sure your car is road ready. You know what I mean? Make sure your battery is good. AC blowing cool. Like I said, make sure your tires are not bald. And the reason I say this is because, like I said, I've seen situations happen where people, they get their money tied up and they're pissed off because they wasn't prepared. You know what I mean? But one of the things that worries me is, there's been times where I had to jump people off, and don't get me wrong, I don't mind. And I have cables. I keep cables just in case, I need to jump, or if I need to jump somebody off. You know what I mean? So make sure you got jumper cables. Have you a gas can too, just in case you, hopefully you don't, but just so happen you run out of gas. When I get to half a tank, I'll fill back up. Not everybody does that. They'll ride it till they on fumes and then fill up. You know what I mean? But again, be prepared, man. A lot of people traveling and they're not prepared. Keep you some waters in the car just in case. And this ain't one of those videos where, because you have people talk about, end of the world crisis and stuff that you gotta have. I'm not gonna get that deep. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, whenever you're traveling, have that spare tire. You know what I'm saying? Have the lug nut that's gonna take off your tire. Some cars have rims, or some rims have specific keys that are used to take off the tire. I could think about when on my way before I moved to New Mexico, my friends came and picked me up, and one of the fellas, he had some 20s on his car, and he got a flat while he was in Georgia. The thing is, he had to wait until the key was shipped because he forgot the key to undo the tire. So he had to wait for the key to be shipped for him to take his towel so that he could change his flat. And that's what delays people too, or get people in the bind. They'll be traveling. Sometimes an unfortunate accident happens, or sometimes literally an accident, people wreck. But sometimes something may happen to the car. It may be a sensor, or a tire rod or something. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be, sometimes people have things happen to their car. And I see it with truck drivers a lot, and I'll talk about them in a minute. But you see it with people on a day-to-day. Something may happen to their vehicle, which, for one, they wasn't prepared for that. They wasn't prepared to pay for a fix on their vehicle. Now, not only do they got to pay to fix their vehicle, they have to pay to get put up or stay in a hotel room for another night. You know, some people when they travel, they may sleep in their car. When I used to travel by myself to Georgia, hell, I would stop in rest areas, get me 4 hours of sleep, and jump back on the road. And you know, by the time I get to Georgia, I may be smelling a little funky, but you know, I jump in the shower as soon as I get an opportunity. But at the same time, I'm not really getting out. The only time I'm getting out is to get gas. I wasn't interacting with people, wasn't around people, so you know, I could deal with the funk myself because I know I've been sitting. But I digress. But you know, you'll have people who, for one, they don't have a car because they're waiting on their car to get fixed. And the funny thing about my location, we actually have an automotive shop that's right next door. And that's probably why I see a lot of these stories. Or, you know what I'm saying? See this happen so often because, you know, people like, shit, I got to get my car towed. And so you got to pay for a tow. You know, if that's not covered by your insurance, you got to pay for that tow. So, you know, some people, they tow their car to the automotive shop right next door to us. And, you know, they're waiting to get their car fixed. And you got to understand, you know what I'm saying? And especially living in the city. Like, I know how it is in the country, but in the city too. But people, it takes time to work on cars. Granted, some mechanics, you know, they may stretch out the time to get their money. That's another story for another day. But let's say this mechanic really has 2 or 3 cars, already has appointments for the day, and you come in, you know, with a sense of urgency, and they can't get to you right away. And depending on what your issue is, yeah, that may be a day's job or whatever needs to get done. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the thing is, you got to wait until that mechanic is done with your vehicle before you could get back on the road. And now the thing is, now, whereas you may have had your trip planned, okay, we're going to stay here this night, we're going to stay here this night, something happens to your vehicle, now it's more of a sense of, shit, now we got to pay another night in a hotel. Granted, you was going to spend that money most likely in a different location, but if you still planning to go to your initial, you know, destinations, you still gotta pay for those hotels. But now you added additional nights for things you wasn't prepared for. And most people, when that happens, they're not necessarily prepared to pay for that hotel for an extra night or 2 extra nights. You know what I mean? Especially if they still trying to get what they're trying to get to. You know. And that's, again, that's one of the main things that I see with people when I say be prepared, you know, because anything can happen while you're on the road, you know, but you got, if you're gonna be on the road, you have to be prepared for any given situation, you know, and for monetarily, emotionally, all of that, you know what I'm saying? You have to be prepared, you know. But I'll touch on the truckers real quick, you know what I'm saying? But you see it happen with those guys all the time too. And you know, with the truckers, it's more of them pissed off because it could depend on the situation. Because I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe a lot of these truckers that come through, most of them are leasing their trucks. So not too far from us is a Peterbilt, however you say it, and I think there's a Volvo that's not too far, and there's like one more. But anyway, like, some of these truckers, you know, they be leasing their truck and something happened, you know, while they delivering a load, you know what I mean? Or in the process of delivering a load. So that messes them up in multiple ways because, for one, with trucking, you can't make no money if you're sitting still. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, you know, whenever you carry these loads, you know, you usually have a deadline. You know, I had to have this load to this location by this day, by this time, you know what I'm saying? And so now you're missing the time that you're supposed to drop off your load, you know, and so that could potentially be cutting into, you know, your profit margin, you know what I'm saying, if your load is not there on time, you know. And here it is where, you know, today is Wednesday, you know, right? Let's say you're in New Mexico, today Wednesday, you're supposed to be in California by Thursday, you know, and then by Saturday, about Monday morning, you had to be back in fucking New York or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And now the thing is, like I said, now you can't get out of New Mexico. You may not get out of New Mexico until Friday. And you may not make it in New York Monday morning. So that, it's a domino effect with that shit. You know, and so I guess as truckers, if you ain't leasing, especially if you own them, man, make sure you prepare when it comes to this trucking shit. Because like I said, I've seen truckers sit for a week. waiting to get their truck fixed. You know what I mean? And you can see those guys, some of those guys are devastated. Like, man, I got to get back on the road. They playing, they bullshit. They ain't put my truck in. They ain't started working on my truck yet, or even down to the point of the key, having the key. Even with truckers, sometimes, you know, they may not have the part. Well, they got to order the part. So it's going to take a couple days to get the part in, if it's in stock. You know what I'm saying? And that could go with people just with other vehicles too, you know, that may happen to have, you know, break down while they're on the road. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, as a trucker, man, you want to make sure you are on your P's and Q's, dotting on your I's and crossing on your T's before you get on that road. Because like they say, time is money, and you got to be at this location by a certain time. If not, you ain't gonna get that money, you know. But again, man, I don't want to make this too long, but again, it's just something that I see. You know, some people are not prepared. And like I said, I guess the reason I made this is because, like, today I had to jump somebody off. Granted, they were prepared. They had jumper cables, but the thing was, they had already packed all of their stuff in the car, and they were moving. So they had the stuff packed in the back seat all the way up to the top of the ceiling. You know, so for them, they're like, shit, we're gonna have to unload this whole car before we can even, you know, get to the jumper cables. You know what I mean? So I guess that's something to take that example and keep that in mind as far as having access if you are on the road, as far as how quickly do you need to get to whatever it is you need to get to that's in your car. You know what I'm saying? If something were to go wrong, you know what I mean? But like I said, man, just be excuse me, be prepared when you're traveling on the road, because again, anything can happen, man. It could. And like I said, I've seen it happen. I continue to see it happen, and it probably will still continue to happen. You know, and you know, you just try to, you know, you want to be compassionate in those situations. I try my best to be. You know what I mean? Because some situations are unfortunate. You know, and the thing is that. The thing is that like I said, people prepare in different ways. Like I said, some people are prepared whenever those situations happen, and they don't bitch and moan about it. You know, they realize, okay, this is what happened, this is what needs to get done to get back on the road and get to my next destination, and they get it done. Whereas you have some people who, like I say, just kind of moping, like, oh God, you know, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was gonna expect to stay another night. And, you know, they have those stories, you know what I mean? But like I say, man, I'm letting this go further than I wanted to anyway, man. But it's your man, Mike Deloach, coming back to you with another video. Like the video, share the video. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? But until next time, we'll holla back.